I decided to give you guys a list of my top 10 PlayStation 3 games. This is actually a list that was kind of hard to make because a lot of the games on this list are available on other consoles, and I usually prefer the 360 version of games over the PS3 version. But I was able to narrow it down to top 10 favorite PlayStation 3 games. In 10th place, we have Demon's Souls. This is basically the start of the Souls series, better known for the Dark Souls games, and this is the first one and the one that really put the series on the map. This game has even been remade. It's a fun, crazy dungeon crawler like adventure game where you fight big monsters and demons and other knights. It's really challenging, really tough, very fun and very unique, and one that I highly recommend to anyone that wants a good challenge. Up next, and possibly controversially, Final Fantasy XIII. A lot of people really despise this game and think it ruined the Final Fantasy series, but honestly, I really do like this game. It follows a group of characters who are trying to basically ward off their inevitable fate of being turned into crystals, and thus they have to team up and find the mystery of what's causing this to happen. And it's a pretty good story, and it's pretty interesting characters. I do like the game a lot, and it does have a little bit more linear type levels in the first half of the game, but once you reach the latter half of the game, it actually opens up a lot more. And I get a lot of people's dislike for this game, but I enjoy the combat, I enjoy the characters, and I think overall it's rather entertaining, and I think it's very good, and it comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is The Godfather: The Dawn's Edition. My favorite version of this game is still the Black Hand Edition on Wii, but the Dawn's Edition on PS3 is a very close second. Essentially, it takes the original game and expands upon it with new features and new missions. It's basically the best HD version of the game, and it's highly recommended. Coming in at number 7 is my favorite of the Uncharted series, and that is Uncharted 2: Among Thieves. This game essentially took the first Uncharted game, which is a fun Indiana Jones-esque type adventure where you play as this character named Nathan Drake. It took everything about that game and made it 10 times better. This is everything the first Uncharted game was, only way more entertaining and much better executed. Great graphics, especially for the year it came out. Amazing gameplay, really likable characters, a fun adventure. It's hard not to love this game, and it's a great series too. I do have some problems with like Uncharted 4 and 3, especially in the writing department, but this is where the series is at its all-time best, and it's the best of the Uncharted series. If you want a fun adventure game, check out Uncharted 2: Among Thieves. Up next is a game that I don't have a copy of, so I'll just hold up its sequel, and that's The Last of Us. The Last of Us is a great game, and I owned it on the PS3, and then I upgraded to the PS4 version, and then I got rid of my PS4 version because I'm going to upgrade to the PS5 remake called The Last of Us Part 1. But unfortunately, I don't have frame of reference, and I don't own that version yet, so I'll just hold up its sequel. It's much more inferior sequel, in my opinion. The first Last of Us is a great game that has this character named Joel, who, after losing his daughter at the beginning of a zombie apocalypse, has to protect a girl named Ellie and deliver her to this group of people known as the Fireflies. We're going to try to use her to make a cure to save the world. It's a pretty interesting game with a great story. If you want a good zombie adventure game, you have to play The Last of Us. Up next, we have God of War 3. A very fun game that I also enjoy, but unfortunately I don't have the copy of either. And that seems to be a running theme with these lists. I'll have most of the games, but then when it comes to 1 or 2 entries, I'll just be missing it. I have had this game on the 3 and the 4, and for the life of me, I can't find my copy of 4. I've been rearranging my stuff lately, so some of my games are kind of in disarray, and it's probably around here somewhere, but just know that God of War 3 is my favorite of the series. A fun hack-and-slice adventure. God of War 3 is brutal, it's fun, and highly recommended. And at number 4 is Deus Ex Human Revolution. If you do get this game, I recommend getting the Director's Cut. I have the Director's Cut of this game on the Wii U, but first played the game on PS3. This is one of the best games of the series. I've always loved the Deus Ex series, and my favorite of which is probably the original game, but I think this one comes in a close second, maybe third. And if you want a good cyberpunk adventure with great story and great atmosphere and great gameplay, I recommend this game. It's highly underrated, and I think it's overlooked a lot, and it doesn't get the credit that it deserves. You want a fun game? Deus Ex Human Revolution. Check it out. Coming in at number 3 is the Hitman HD Trilogy Collection. This game includes Hitman 2, Silent Assassin, Hitman Contracts, and my favorite Hitman game of all time, Hitman Blood Money. This is a great set that's also available on 360, but you really can't go wrong no matter what system you buy this thing on. It includes the absolute best Hitman game and its 2 prequels, all of which are amazing. If you want to play Contracts and 2 in high def, this is the only way to really do it. And it's just an amazing set. 3 games all on one disc. Great espionage and stealth. You just can't go wrong with this game. If you love Hitman or you just want to try a good stealth game, I highly recommend this game. Like I said, also available on 360. So fun. You gotta love the Hitman franchise. And this game is one of the best examples of that franchise, firing on all cylinders. Number 2 is a game that I have the PS4 version of, but I originally did have it on PS3, and that's Batman Arkham City. Now, I really do like Arkham Asylum as well, but I think City basically took everything that Asylum did and just did it better. The game, as you can see, has also been released on the PS4, and that's the version I have here. But I first played the game on PS3, and the PS3 version I think is a little better than 360, especially with the Game of the Year edition with everything included. A fun game that pretty much encapsulates everything about Batman that people wanted to see. It's more or less the ultimate Batman game. It's never been topped. There have been Batman games released since then, such as Arkham Knight, which is pretty damn fun. But if you want the perfect Batman experience, I don't think it's ever been done better than this game. Great game with a great story, amazing voice performances from Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy. There's nothing not to love about this game. Magnificent, great action. If you haven't played the end of the Arkham games, I recommend you start with Asylum, but then move on to City, because it is the absolute best one. Highly recommended. I love this game. But my number 1 game would have to be the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection. Essentially, this is 2 games in one. And what I mean by that is, it is the HD collection, which includes Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 in high def, but it's also Metal Gear Solid 4. It's a great set that includes a digital copy of Metal Gear Solid 1, which is a little disappointing. I kind of wish they had remade the Twin Snakes for this game, especially because they went through the effort of remaking 2 and 3 in HD. You couldn't have thrown in the Twin Stakes version of 1, but instead just give us a digital code for the first game. A little bit lazy. But apart from that one gripe, this is 3 awesome games in one. If you want to play Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and 4, all in beautiful high def, you have to get this game. The absolute best Metal Gear Solid game in Metal Gear Solid 3, as well as one of the best with 2 and another great one with 4. You can't go wrong with this set. It's everything I love about the Metal Gear franchise, and it's truly a great game. Get this set. Highly recommended. Well, that's my list, but I figure before I go, I'll give you a few honorable mentions. First up, we have Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13, the third of the Final Fantasy 13 games. They basically had 2 spin-offs, and this was one of them. This is the third one. There's also Final Fantasy 13 2, which I do like, but I think Lightning Returns is much better, and essentially completes the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy, all of which are highly recommended. And I think they're all very fun, but I don't think you can beat the original 13, but I think Lightning Returns is a close second. Next we have Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, also available on 360, but I do think that the PS3 version's graphics are a little bit better and more refined, but still a fun version, and if you don't have yourself a 360, try the PS3 version. It's actually rather enjoyable. Next is a game that almost made the list, and that's Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, a really badass hack-and-slash game that takes place at the very end of the Metal Gear Solid timeline. You play as Raiden from MGS4 and 2, and you're basically a cyborg ninja. There's nothing not to love about this game, and it is batshit insane. It basically almost made the list, and I would have put it at number 11 if I had to put it on the list. Very fun. Next we have Silent Hill Homecoming, one of the last Silent Hill games ever released. It's also very underrated and very enjoyable. If you want a fun, dark, and macabre experience, I do recommend this game. It's also available on 360, and it is a rather enjoyable and underrated entry into the franchise. Check it out. I also recommend Dragon Ball Raging Blast, probably the best Dragon Ball game on the PS3. Really fun levels, lots of destructible environments, good graphics. An enjoyable game that I wish we had had a third entry to. There's a second game in the series as well, Raging Blast 2, but I also really enjoy the first one, and you can't go wrong with either one of those games. And lastly, I have to recommend The Godfather 2. Not quite good enough to make the list, but still a very enjoyable game, and one that I really love, and I wish that there was a part 3, and one was in development, but sadly got canceled. But check out The Godfather Part 2. Well, that's my list. I thank you all for watching. I know it's been a while since I released my last video, but I've been busy with life and other things. But I do thank you all for checking out this top 10. Have a good day, and peace out.